Penny Lou, please stop barking. Oh, whoo, she's loud when she barks. Okay, calm down. The trial is on. However, they're on a break right now. What time is it? Okay, here it's noon. They're over in, I think they're over in Oregon or Washington State. Let me see. So maybe they're going to start at 9 their time. Well, let me share the screen anyway. Um, and meanwhile, hello, Katiana. Fine. I lost my Instagram account. I was putting a lot of really, really, really bad, like very edgy political memes. And yesterday, as a matter of fact, yesterday I did a tutorial how to make a meme. You might want to do the same. And today I got my Instagram is gone. They killed my. Shh, let me get my baby. So, let me share the screen. So I'm a little bummed, but I kind of expected it was going to happen at some point. But what I'm bummed about is that I didn't have a secondary backup account to tell all my followers to go to the new account, which I should have done. And I was thinking I better do it because I knew I was going to get taken out at any moment. But I kept putting it off, and now it happened. I only had like 100 followers. It wasn't that many, but unless they remembered me or whatever, I lost those people that might have been, people who eventually could have found their way here. And like I said, I'm not recruiting people. I want people to find their way here naturally, like through the internet. Click, how you all found me, basically. Some have been following me from my sewing channel. Way back, that's when they knew me in 2008, and they followed me from channel to channel, and they're here. And I said, those are the ones that are, they like something about me. I'm not saying they like everything about me. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, there was this really nice guy. I hope he still follows me. But we actually, see, that's why I used to always never accept friend requests on Facebook. Because I said on Facebook, I get very political. And some of the people who followed me, who found me from the sewing channel and jumped from here to there, if they saw how I was on Facebook, they would probably, not like me anymore. So, but anyway, I did start at some point. I started accepting people on Facebook, but they were people who knew me from the ASMR channel and from, the Ramble Scramble. So then when they saw who I really was on Facebook, some of them stayed friends. I think some might have just whatever disappeared, but I didn't even accept, I only accepted people that I had seen. I don't just accept anyone, but people I've already seen on my channel. I'm talking too much. Anyway, I got into the politics and we had kind of a fight. So I don't know if he follows me anymore. I hope he does. I mean, I have no hard feelings. I know that I do put things, provocative things on purpose because I want people to argue so that we can get the discussion out in the open. What happened, baby? She got a buzz cut. I bought some candy. I maybe could do a mini candy attack while we're waiting for that trial to start. Anyway, let me bummer, will you? Yeah, I'll make a new page. I don't know if you followed me on Instagram, but I'm going to do a new one and maybe put less provocative, because now we've progressed more. Like what really had me concerned was the UN women, but now they're on board. They're like, okay, we all women are matter, I see, at least as far as the American government, they're doing what they need to be doing. We can't do anything more. As far as world peace, we can only do as much as we can do. And I see that my government is now doing it, as best they can. So now I don't feel that desperation to get out there and convince people because I see, okay, but I do get very uptight when things like that, war or the riots, when there's violence, I get uptight. I get very, and before I would keep it to myself, but with internet, I'm like, I've got to convince people. Even if I convince 5 people to see it my way, that's 5 people that can spread the word to their friends. And, it grows. It grows. That's how minds are opened by freedom of expression. So that's that. Okay, let me share anyway, in a way, it's good. I was spending too much time on there arguing with everybody. Share screen. Okay, I'll share that one. I want to do, okay, I guess I'll do it like that and I'll be over in the little corner. I don't really like to be on this. Can I make that smaller even? I know if I mean, I could make myself out altogether. I think when it starts, I'll put myself out of the picture altogether. Hello, two people. Let me see. It doesn't say who's there, but they're both from YouTube. That's all I can tell. But it doesn't say the name. Unless they chat, I can't tell who's in here. I never could. On Twitch, I can't either. On Twitch, you'll click and you'll see names, but that will only be names of people who have visited that day. So they'll even if you pop in and pop out, I don't know if it shows that you came in. But so I might have like 8 or 9 names there on Twitch, but only 2 is showing as people watching. So I don't know how it works. Okay, so while we're waiting for them to come back, I could do a little mini candy attack. I bought a snack. I bought salad, but I'll eat that a little later. This one, this one. So the one today is, I love sour, but I'm getting kind of tired of the sour, especially that last one I did with that super sour with Josh. I'm kind of sour used to be, oh my gosh, I had to have sour candy, sour chewy. Now I'm more drawn to cherry but I got these because they looked interesting texture, not so much the flavor. It says fruity flavors. I'm not on the good camera today. Oh, let me get that off the screen. Wait a minute. Remove. When it starts, I'll put it on. Make sure that, yeah, when it starts, I'll hear them. So we have Warheads. Ooze Chews. I forgot to check if they have palm oil. Oh, they don't. Good. Wheat flour. I forget. I'm supposed to check beforehand, and I always forget to check if they have palm oil beforehand. But this one luckily doesn't. All right. Has wheat. Is it kosher halal? I do not think it is. That's actually more important to people than I thought. No, it is. It doesn't say that it's kosher, so that's up to you. If you're a kosher or if you eat halal, I'll say both. It's the same thing. Actually, remember I did that video considering what's happening now. For years I've been trying to broach the Muslim thing and now I'm just mad at them, But I'm gonna try to get back to how I used to feel, that we can all be friends and we can all love each other and all that. All right. All right, let's try it. Oh, I got that, and I got Java Monster because I don't have enough energy. I need coffee and an energy drink. Which, before I drink this, by the way, careful people, there's a young lady who died. She went to Panera Bread and bought their energy coffee, which I believe was something like this. It was coffee plus an energy drink. It was like a morning pickup super Panera, whatever. And she drank it, and she had a pre-existing heart condition, so that made it even worse. Although if you drink a lot of these, same thing, I think it can be very bad for you. You could have a heart attack because it's just too much. But that young lady had a pre-existing heart condition, and now she's suing. Now she's suing Panera Bread. Let's look at that. That might be an interesting trial. Panera. Well, actually, I don't think there's going to be a trial. They'll probably settle. Panera Bread girl dies of energy drink. Another tangent. Sarah Katz, 21, an Ivy League student, died in September of 2022 after she drank Panera's charged lemonade, a large cup of which contains more caffeine than a standard can of Red Bull and Monster energy drinks combined. According to a lawsuit her family filed this week. I guess they filed it. FDA looks into UPenn. She went to University of Penn. Looks into UPenn. Share this tab instead. I'll share this. Am I sharing anything? Oh, it's not sharing. Hang on. Add to stage. There we go. So it says, this one. The Food and Drug Administration said Wednesday that it is gathering information about the death of a young woman with a heart condition who a lawsuit alleges died after she consumed a highly caffeinated lemonade from Panera Bread. Sarah Katz, 21, I believe, student, blah, blah, blah. We read that already. Oh. The lawsuit, which was first reported by NBC News, calls the beverage a dangerous energy drink and alleges that Panera failed to properly warn customers about its ingredients. In addition to caffeine, it has guarana extract, another stimulant, and the large size contains the equivalent of almost 30 teaspoons of sugar. So be careful. I mean, I'm thinking I'm a hyperactive person anyway, and now this has caffeine and the energy drink. Does that have guarana? Let's see. It says caffeine, milk, sugar cream, glucose. That's all kinds of sugar and glucose. Taurine, natural flavors, sodium, citrate, microcrystalline cellulose, Panax. It sounds like Xanax. Ginseng flavor, caffeine, calcium alginate, niacinamide, vitamin B3, sodium I think it's algalate. I can't read. It's kind of sucralose. That sounds like another sugar. Color added. Guarana extract. That's what it says. It has guarana extract, another stimulant. So this has guarana and caffeine, and it has mositol, L-carnitine, L-tartrate, pyridox, see, it's kind of blurry, and it's also a bad camera. Let me see if you guys can see me here. It's very blurry writing. It's hard to tell, but hi there. I'm chatting for the time being. We're waiting for the trial of Marisela Botello. Was a poor young girl. Oh, are they back? The lady's back. Let me share that. So you're back. All right, hang on. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Let me share the screen. The jury's coming in. Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Yes, because at this time of year. Oh, yeah, that Judge Francis came by and got us. She's one of my children who sports way back in the day. And I didn't know anything.
All rise.
Maybe seated currently, that maybe still have the witness on cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor. May I first witness, Your Honor? Detective Ramirez, is this a copy of the probable cause affidavit
that you presented to Judge Carter Thompson on March 22nd, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you have reviewed that before?
Yes.
Okay, and I just want to look at the second page. The defense had asked you about Charles Beltran and Lisa Dykes and Nina Marano, their blood being mixed in with Marisela Botello's blood
Yes, ma'am.
there at the scene in his bedroom. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that location was right next to Beltran's bed, just right under the window in his bedroom. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and that's where that big blood stain was, where all of that blue star reacted, and that was the biggest indication that something had happened to Marisela in that room. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and there's an important distinction. It did say that blood was found to match the complainant Marisela Botello, but it also says unknown male and female DNA profiles were found in the carpet by Swifts.
Correct.
Okay. That's not to say at that time you had any certainty that those DNA profiles were from blood.
Correct.
Okay, it could be from touch DNA, it could be from some other source besides blood. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's why you listed it that way in your probable cause affidavit. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you learned that Mr. Beltran had other women over there, right?
Yes.
I mean, Lisa Dykes and Nina Marano both lived there, so presumably they go in his room. Is that correct?
Yes.
He also had male individuals coming over. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, but the primary source of the blood DNA wasn't just on the carpet. It was seeped down into the carpet pad. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, and you knew all this information when you were talking to Mr. Beltran. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so when you told him that the DNA was in there, you just wanted him to know that you had some information so that maybe he would tell you more. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And he even said, I mean, it's certainly possible that if there's a stabbing going on, that he may get nicked, that Miss Dykes may cut herself, and that may be the source of some of these DNA profiles. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
But at that time, in January 29th of 2021, when you received that first DNA report, you didn't have the buccal swabs for Charles Beltran. You didn't have the buccal swab for Lisa Dykes, and you didn't have the buccal swab for Nina Marano. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's because they weren't even in Dallas, were they?
Correct.
They were all over. It's certainly something you wanted.
Yes.
Okay, so you certainly wanted to talk to Miss Dykes, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You certainly wanted to talk to any of these individuals, correct?
Correct.
But if you can't find them, you can't talk to them.
Correct.
Now, you went up to New York. I want to talk a little bit about the Black Audi, and that was kind of a focus of your investigation, trying to find that Black Audi because you knew that based on the video evidence that Charles Beltran had been in that Black Audi with Marisela Botello. Is that correct?
Correct.
At that time, you didn't know anything about a white Tucson.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
And so your focus is on that. And the reason, other than the 7-Eleven video, that your focus is on that is because you also learned through the FBI investigation that Lisa Dykes was talking to several coworkers about trying to get rid of a car.
Correct.
And it was the Black Audi, right?
Correct.
So the focus was on that at that time, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so you actually went to New York and you went to the dealership where Lisa Dykes entered the dealership and Nina Marano entered the dealership and sold off that Black Audi. Is that correct?
They did sell it.
And that's after they had that Black Audi shipped from Dallas all the way up to New York.
Correct.
Okay. And they didn't even sell it in the town they were living in.
No.
They sold it in another town, Middletown, New York. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
You had the New York State Police get involved and process that vehicle, didn't you?
Correct.
And when they processed that vehicle, you asked them to do Blue Star or the equivalent in New York. Is that right?
Yes.
Your understanding is the same type of chemical.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't any indication that there was any blood in that trunk, was there?
Correct.
Okay. And there was indication that there were some hairs that were found that he collected in the back of that trunk. Is that right?
Correct.
And at the time of the probable cause affidavit, one of those hairs was a long, straight black hair. Is that right?
Correct.
That didn't seem to match any of the three individuals that you were trying to contact.
Correct.
Now, you also, while you were in New York and Pennsylvania, you're trying to talk to them, aren't you?
Correct.
You went to Nina Marano's home,
Yes.
okay? And at that time, I believe she was going by Nina Beltran. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you learn that at some point in this, Nina Marano and Lisa Dykes, first of all, had changed their last name to Beltran?
Correct.
And then shortly after Marisela went missing, they actually changed their names on their identifications and passports.
Correct.
Now, when you went and talked to these people, you talked to some of her neighbors, right?
Yes.
And their neighbors reported that, Nina was a friendly person
Yes.
before Lisa.
Correct.
Things changed when Lisa got in the picture, didn't they?
Yes.
And prior to Lisa Dykes being in the picture, Nina Marano was just kind of a family person. She had her husband Bill there. They had a long-term marriage, and suddenly he passed away.
Yes.
You learned that. You learned that Nina had not told any of her friends in that neighborhood that he had passed away
Correct.
until months later.
Correct.
At that time, she was seeing Miss Dykes, wasn't she?
Correct.
Did you learn from the neighbors that when Nina Marano returned back to Pennsylvania in around December of 2020, that suddenly all the shades are down, there's sheets over the windows, it's dark, and Miss Marano's not friendly anymore?
Correct.
That was completely out of character for her, wasn't it?
Yes.
You did you interviewed Jamie Scarpa, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And she told you some information regarding the sale of the house.
Yes.
She hadn't really met Miss Dykes, had she?
No.
I mean, just one time.
Just met her once.
She never met Charles Beltran, did she?
No.
But she was just trying to give you information to help your investigation.
Yes.
You left a business card with Miss Scarpa, didn't you?
Yes.
And just advised her, let Nina know we just want to talk to her. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you ever hear from Miss Marano?
No.
Did you ever hear from Miss Dykes?
No.
And you didn't hear from Mr. Beltran either, did you?
No.
In fact, after you left that business card, you learned that they sold the house, and prior to even selling the house, they weren't living there anymore.
Correct.
Did you learn that right after you gave them that business card is when they quit staying in Pennsylvania?
Correct.
And so you're trying to look for them again.
Again. Mhm.
Now, in the interim of going to New York and trying to locate him and things of that nature, that blood swab, those swabbings from the carpet are being tested with Swiss. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in January, you get those results, and it's determined what you already believe to be true, and that blood belonged to Marisela Botello.
Yes.
And based on that, you all start searching various areas or highlighting various areas in Wilmer to possibly search.
Yes.
Okay, and you did that based on the phone records of Nina Marano and Lisa Dykes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you learn that Lisa Dykes used to live out there at 274 Turning Tree?
Yes.
And that's a little tiny housing development just right off of I-45. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and I think you exit Beltline Road,
Yes.
and then you can ride off I-45, you take a left on Beltline, and it's just right there to the left.
Correct.
And you learn that she lived there for a number of years.
Yes.
Okay. Nina never lived with her there, did she?
No.
Okay, and Charles never lived there with her.
No.
You based how big is Wilmer?
Not that big.
Okay, not that big?
No, I would say, I'm not sure what the population is, but it's a very small town. I mean, a suburb of Dallas.
Okay, and area-wise, is there quite a bit of area out there to search?
Yes.
Lots of different kind of open areas.
There's a lot of trailers as far as hauling a gravel or whatever from the highway. There's a lot of cement places and a lot of, I guess, land.
Okay,
Pretty much.
cement plants, you know, kind of some industrial type of locations. But there's also a lot of farmland,
Yes,
a lot of wooded areas.
yes,
And a lot of that is not far at all from that Turning Point Drive. Is that correct?
correct.
At some point, you guys did a search March 6th of 2021, and you based that again on knowing that Lisa and Nina's phones were out there in Wilmer that night, October 5th, after Marisela went missing, correct?
Correct.
Now, Beltran's phones weren't there, were they?
No.
It showed his phone to be actually down in Deep Ellum, right?
Yes, yes,
And that's what he told me, that he
Right.
was down in Deep Ellum that night. Now, the March 6th search, that was at an address on 1701 Fulgham Road, is that correct?
yes,
And eventually her body was found off of Post Oak Road, is that correct?
correct.
The reason you concentrated on the concrete plant was because the black Audi appeared to have some cement on the underneath side of it, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so based on the information that you have, you're doing everything you can.
Correct.
In fact, it makes more sense to search a concrete plant at that point than just going through the acres and acres and acres of farmland out there.
Correct.
And we're talking hundreds of acres of
A
farmland,
lot.
wooded areas.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, like finding a needle in a haystack.
Correct.
Now, first witness, Your Honor.
You may.
Detective, I'm handing you what's been marked State's Exhibit 394 and 395. Does that look like a map of the Fulgham Road area and that area in Wilmer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's a fair and accurate representation of that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then 395, is that a photograph of the area that you all searched March 6th, 2021?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, state offer states 394 and 395 for all purposes. Considering the defense counsel.
No objection, Judge.
All right, State's Exhibits 394 and 395 are admitted for all purposes.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Now, this up here, that's Fulgham Road, is that correct?
Correct.
And is that the area that you all searched?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm just gonna zoom into it a little bit, and it appears, I mean, there's a lot of pavement and concrete and things like that, right there in that initial area.
Yes, ma'am.
How was it, or how accessible was that area via car?
Pretty much easy. I mean, they had gates, but they were open and people can actually drive through.
Okay, so there's gates that are open and you can drive through, and then how far from this concreted area was it before you got to some of the wooded areas with, I think maybe there was some water and bodies of water out there?
In the plant, yes.
Okay, about how far of a walk is it from the area that you can park your car on concrete to the area where maybe you might think to locate a body?
It was a long distance. I mean, I would say, I don't know, probably a quarter of a mile, I guess. Maybe.
Quarter of a mile?
Yes, I would say. I mean, then there was a long, big property. So some of it was concrete because they were filling it in, and then the rest in the back was more water. And it was in the process of being covered because there was the owner that owned that plant that had the construction site debris coming in to the property to kind of top it off. And then he had a cement company, I think it's a cement company next to them that was actually being leased there. So there was two areas there.
And compared to where the body was located over here at Post Oak Road, or actually just the bones were located over here off of Post Oak Road, that's about a 2.5 mile drive, about 5 minutes. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there at Post Oak Road, I mean, both sides of the road, there's kind of open farmland on both sides.
Yes.
And then the location where a body was found, there was actually, when you're facing from the road to the right is kind of open farmland area, correct?
Yes,
And then to the left, it's a kind of a wooded area.
yes,
And that wooded area, I guess the culvert, there's a lot of brush and things that are grown up that kind of block the view of that wooded area,
yes,
okay? And it's just a short walk through that brush, and it's easy to get through that brush. We're not
Yes.
talking about briars and thorns. I mean, you can just walk through it easily.
yes,
And it was just over that many of the remains were found. Is that correct?
yes,
But you can't see that area from the road.
No.
Because of all the brush and all of that.
correct.
As far as being able to walk in that area, was it that difficult to get to?
No.
Your understanding, so this is I-45 right here. Dallas is back this way, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so if you're traveling from Dallas or Mesquite area, take I-45 this way, you exit Beltline Road. Thank you, Zach. You exit Beltline Road right here, and you take a left onto Beltline Road, and there is a little housing development right here on East Beltline Road. Is that
Yeah.
right?
yes, ma'am,
And that's where 274 Turning True Road is, correct?
yes,
And it is literally 2 turns. Go down Beltline, take a left, and you stop right there, and this is where that body was found.
yes,
It states 395. Is this the area that you were talking about that you initially searched in at Fulgham Road?
yes.
Okay, and so where this entrance, where would you park your vehicle?
We were connect point. It's for the star, a little bit where the star is at. It's where we actually parked. I mean, there's opening area there, but we actually went to the middle and then worked our way around.
Okay, is this where you park the vehicles?
Yes,
Okay, and that drive through there, is it all paved like a parking lot, or what was that drive?
it's kind of rough. It's gravel and cement area, so it's it's drivable, but it's not like paved.
Okay,
It's
And-
pressed down, I guess you would say.
okay, and then it's a pretty significant walk back into this area?
Yeah, some of the areas were actually water, like I said, had water, so they were actually making ways to actually put the trucks in to actually dump debris from the 35 construction to cover that area.
And I guess my point is, if 2 women are dumping a 5-foot tall, 100-pound Hispanic woman, it would be a lot easier to do it right there off of Post Oak Road, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, that's totally feasible.
Yes.
I mean, Marisela wasn't heavy, was she?
No, ma'am.
I mean, she was tiny.
Yes.
And 2 women of bigger stature wouldn't have an issue taking that small body wrapped in a trash bag and taped with duct tape and just taking it just off the road and dumping it behind that brush.
Correct.
Now, you spoke to a number of people in your investigation, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you didn't get this case until December 8th of 2020, correct?
Correct.
And many of the tips that Mr. Harris asked you about, those were all received and investigated, and the officers had been sent out on those tips prior to you ever getting on the case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're just reading their incident reports as to what happened, right?
Yes.
And that one that he mentioned about Orlando Brown, that wasn't the only person that said they saw someone similar to Marisela Botello.
Correct.
In fact, there was another tip where officers were sent out to a bus stop. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I believe the patron said that, I mean, it looked like her, it might be her, it's the same build, it's the same as a Hispanic female, the same size, maybe it's her, I don't know, correct?
Correct.
And you all were able to get information that the person who they saw actually purchased a bus ticket and wasn't Marisela Botello at all.
Correct.
So it's not like that these tips are panning out at all.
Right.
But people are following up on it.
Yes.
Now, the Mustang Inn and the City Inn, are you familiar with those 2 places?
Kind of. I know it's I think in Oak Cliff, if I'm mistaken.
Okay, and you know that those two places are like motels, and
Yes.
it's known drug houses and a lot of prostitution and things like that go on there.
Yes.
Is there any indication from Marisela's family members or friends or anyone that you talked to that would be a place that she would go?
That would not be a place for her to go.
I mean, she's never been to Dallas
No.
before. Would she even know how to get to these places?
She wouldn't.
And so you're trying, and people are trying to help, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're not trying to mislead you, they're trying to help.
Correct.
Do you know what picture they used to show Mr. Brown and the security guard, Floyd Mitchell, to say if this is Marisela Botello or not?
I didn't remember.
Okay, and you weren't a part of that, so you weren't there, you wouldn't know,
Correct.
right? Mr. Hayes can answer that question for us.
Yes.
But what you do know, when you get on the case in December 8th of 2020, you're desperately trying to find Lisa Dykes, you're desperately trying to find Nina Marano and Charles Beltran. Were you aware that Nina and Lisa Marano got new passports with their new last name on December 10th of 2020?
Yes.
So it doesn't appear that they're trying to be found.
Correct.
You talk to people in Dallas, Charles Beltran's friends, Charles Beltran's, some of his girlfriends, correct?
Correct.
You talked to Miss Alvarez, Madeline Alvarez, right?
Yes.
She was very reluctant, wasn't she?
Yes.
In fact, he had told him that, we knew you went to New Orleans, who'd you go with? And he said, he kind of fumbled through and said Lisa. Did you believe the girl's name was Lisa?
No, ma'am.
I mean, you knew it was Madeline Alvarez at that time.
Yes.
And I mean, it's obvious that Madeline Alvarez didn't want her name involved in this at all,
Correct.
for whatever reason.
Correct.
She never indicated, though, that she was afraid personally of Mr. Beltran, was she?
If she said she was afraid?
Yeah, did she ever say she was afraid of Mr. Beltran doing something to her?
No.
Okay, so that wasn't her fear, was it?
Right.
A lot of people don't want to get involved.
Correct.
Did you review some of the text messages from the phone that Lisa Dykes was using when she was arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it was clear in that, again, that she felt like a sitting duck
Yes.
and she needed somebody to watch her back.
Correct.
She even indicated in a conversation that she needed, do you know who Kyle Williams is?
Yes, her son.
Okay. Were you ever able to talk to Kyle Williams?
I tried to, never responded.
Okay. So Mr. Williams never responded to
No.
you. And you were aware that his girlfriend was Val Salinas, right?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware in those messages that she's asking Kyle and Val, does Val speak Spanish?
Correct.
I'll let you know why I need to know that when I see you.
Correct.
Asking them to use their cards to reserve rooms.
Correct.
And they are driving from Dallas to her to help her.
Correct.
Were you aware, did you learn in your investigation that Kyle Williams actually went to the home in Kensington after Lisa and Nina suddenly left and helped move furniture out?
Correct.
And you don't know where that furniture went?
No, ma'am.
In those text messages, did she ever indicate that she was concerned or worried about Nina Marano's well-being in jail after she got arrested, if you recall?
I don't recall.
But she was
Ever.
worried about getting her money, right?
Correct.
Now, after they were, Lisa and Nina were arrested in they were transported back here to Dallas, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and they were booked in here to the Dallas County Jail. Were you aware that they bonded out?
Yes.
And did Charles Beltran ever bond out?
No.
Okay. He actually was transported back from Utah and back here to Dallas as well, correct?
Correct.
And that process takes a while. So do you have any idea how long it was before he got back here?
Was probably a month, I think, maybe.
And that's about
Mhm.
standard
Yes, ma'am.
as far as getting people back and extradited from other states.
Yes.
And it took about the same for Lisa and Nina, is that correct?
Correct.
What you didn't, so you knew that the Lisa and Nina had bonded out of jail and they were on house arrest.
Correct.
Means they're not supposed to leave the house without, except for, necessary reasons, medical, things of that nature.
Correct.
And what you couldn't predict though was that they were going to tamper with their leg monitoring device and flee to Cambodia.
Correct.
At the time that they were on bond, you can't talk to them, right?
No.
You can't go search their house, can you?
No.
You can't go get their devices and see what they're doing, can you?
Correct.
But after they fled to Cambodia on Christmas Day of 2021, just a few months after being arrested for this, you contacted the FBI and got some help.
Yes.
I mean, Dallas Police Department doesn't have the long arm of the law all the way into Cambodia to grab those people and bring them back, right?
Correct.
So the FBI got involved.
Yes.
You also know that the first parts, once the DA gets the case, and I believe both of these cases, Ms. Dykes' cases were indicted in June of 2022.
Yes.
I'm sorry, June of 2021.
21.
You're aware that those first few months, there's really not a lot going on in court as far as hearings and things of that nature.
Correct.
I mean, you were never called up to court,
No, ma'am.
right? That process is just for the attorneys to kind of exchange information and discovery. And that initial discovery that you gave, you had given the DA's office all the instant reports of the follow-up tips that we just discussed, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the defense had that information back in 2021, as far as you know.
Yes.
Okay. This was not the photographs of Lisa and Nina's property and those types of some of the audio recordings of Marisela's friends and those types of things that were turned over later, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But nothing's going on during that time.
Correct.
In fact, if you come up to the courthouse frequently to testify on different matters and check in with DAs and things like that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And a lot of times, I mean, you see literally defense attorneys will walk in, hand a DA a pass slip, they'll sign it, say, we'll talk later, and that's their exchange for that day.
Pretty much, yes.
Now, at some point, are you communicating with the FBI while they are, trying to locate Lisa and Nina?
Yes. Trying to get as much information as we can.
Okay. And you learned that at some point they were located in a small coastal town in Cambodia, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that they were arrested there in that small Cambodian town,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you learned that they were arrested with several laptops, flash drives, SIM cards, cell phones, all those things.
Yes.
You carry 2 cell phones, one for work and one personal?
Yes.
Not 5?
No.
And when they were arrested, though, all those items were seized, correct?
Yes.
At some point, the FBI transferred those items back to you, and that was in probably June or July of 2022.
Around there. Yes.
Okay. And you requested Fusion at some point, received search warrants, or I don't think you did, but somebody in Dallas Police Department got those search warrants signed, and all those devices went to the Fusion unit or the financial crimes to be analyzed. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
And you learned at some point that Lisa and Nina had a copy of Chuck's interview on their flash drive.
yes,
And you know enough about court proceedings and the discovery rules that they're not supposed to have that, are they?
correct.
But they had it in their possession on their flash drive.
Yes,
And it was just months after they bonded out, left Chuck in jail, that they fled to Cambodia.
correct.
Y'all pass the witness.
And you redirect.
Just so the members of the jury are clear, the first search that y'all did because of the cell phones pinging in that area, they didn't find anything, did they?
What do you mean?
The first search that y'all did out in that location, out in the Williams, in the Wilmer area.
Okay, so you're asking if we didn't find anything?
Yeah.
We referring to the body?
No, I'm saying,
I'm sorry.
what I'm asking is, the first search that was conducted in that area, because the phones were pinging, remember?
Okay, yes,
Y'all didn't find anything connecting to Marisela, correct?
no,
It was only after y'all used the K9 dollars on the first search, do you know?
I believe so. I know we used them twice, at least twice.
And it was only after, I think the person that was setting the trap called y'all about the bones?
Yes,
And just so again, we're clear, when you know that, in reference to the area where Marisela was subsequently found, they set up a memorial.
yes,
And then even after y'all found the first set of bones, you had people that came back bringing y'all more bones, right?
it was a year after, about a year, yes,
But y'all thought they were just animal bones, right?
correct.
But then when we got them tested, we found out that they were actually human bones, right?
I believe so.
And not just human bones, but Marcela's bones, right? Do you remember that?
What was that?
The bones that you bought, that were in the box that people bought to you,
Mhm.
we did DNA testing on them, right?
Okay,
You didn't know?
no. I know I requested it, yeah, but I'm not sure what the details were.
Is that because you were off the case at that time?
Yes,
But as far as that initial search, when they searched that whole area, they didn't find anything, correct?
the first search, are you referring to the plant area or where she was actually found?
They searched that area even when she was found, right? The
Yes.
first time.
But you keep saying first, these are two different times, so I want to make sure they're on the same page.
Okay, well tell me again what you know about the searches.
But
You
what
had
are
the
you,
first search, right?
yes, but you saying first search, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to when the FBI, all those guys went out there looking for evidence connected to this murder case.
Okay, so you're talking about the Post Oak location.
So the Post Oak location is different from where they actually found Marcela?
Post Oak is where they found her.
Okay,
I don't know if you're referring to the one on Pilgrim Road, so that's why I was asking which one.
so the initial
because they helped,
Right, so the initial one didn't include postal, is that what you're saying?
Okay, there's two different searches, okay? One at the plant where the phone's pinged, as far as the information, we searched there. And then after someone called and said that there was phones found, remains found, then we went there afterwards.
But you keep saying where the phone's ping, that's just, I mean, that tower not only pings at that location, it pings at other locations in
No,
that area, right?
But what I was asking is to see which one were you referring to when you said search?
Okay, well, let's,
You know what I mean? That's-
yeah, I understand, but let's talk about you, again, telling the members of the jury that they phones pinged at that area. That area is only one of many locations that those phones pinged off in that one area.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Is that like, that's all I have, thank you.
Any recross?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be finally excused?
No objection, Judge.
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You are free to leave.
Thank
and
you.
go about your business. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is now almost 12:15. We will go ahead and break for lunch. You are expected back in the jury room no later than 1:15 p.m. Please remember your instructions, and we will see you at 1:15.
All rise.
We are at recess until then.
Okay, so they're breaking for lunch. Oops. How do I turn that off? There. All right, so they're breaking for lunch. Anyone there? Two people. Meanwhile, I'll do the candy attack. My dog is mad. She has fleas. Ugh. I gotta give her a bath. I sent her to the groomer. They gave her a flea bath. They shaved her clean. I'm looking around the house. I threw the flea powder around the house. I didn't vacuum, granted. I should probably vacuum, but the flea powder should kill them all. But she's got them and she's growling. I have a shirt on her because it's chilly. And now I want to take the shirt off so I can give her a bath. And she's growling at me, so I can't get her shirt off. Oh, she's such a mess of a dog. But anyway, I'll deal with it. The fleas are sticking. Now, there's also a pill I can give her that because she has this neurological disorder, there's a pill that kills fleas. They take the pill and then I guess somehow it gets, I don't know how it works. It's for heartworm as well. But maybe I'll call the doctor now because they had suggested I not give her that one. I give her this other one, but the other one doesn't kill fleas. It just gets heartworm. This other one, I can't remember the names. Heartgard is the one that does not kill fleas, but it kills heartworm. And then the other one, I forget the name of it, but I have a box of it that I didn't end up giving her. So I might, because I like giving her the pill so she doesn't get fleas. I don't have to worry about it. Like the fleas, if they try to get on her, they die because I guess whatever's in that pill makes her poisonous to them. But of course, because of her neurological disorder, Simpatica is the name, I think. But anyway, let's see if I can get that shirt off her. But she's growling and she'll bite. It's not even that she just warns, she bites. So 3 people. Anyway, I'll tell you how this was. This was okay. I was going over the ingredients, but I finished it. It was okay. It tasted like a cup of coffee with a little extra sugar. The liqueur flavor is because it's a strong coffee. It's like when you make a very strong coffee, it almost tastes like liquor and sugar. So it tasted like a cold cup of coffee, but it was good. Like iced coffee. And a very strong iced coffee. And it also has, all this stuff that makes you energetic. So if you're kind of sluggish or someone who's not a very energetic person, this might be good for you. It probably was not something I should be drinking, but I mean, I'm getting old, but I still am hyper. You know, maybe eventually I might be a sweet little calm little old lady, you know, if I live that long. But your energy has to run out sometime. But yeah, no, I've always been a hyperactive person and I still am. It's like the only thing that it hasn't run out yet. I'm starting to get the muscle aches, you know, that old people do. This arm probably hurts a lot because I use it when I'm playing the games on the phone. I should probably get a stylus pen. I had one. I don't remember where I put it. Oh, and the candy. I'll get the candy. Here. And this candy is okay as well. Nothing exciting. And I've done so many chewy, sour candies for my candy attacks. So this is yet another chewy, sour candy. That's good. You know, I don't have anything spectacular to say about it. You know, it's fruity, chewy. It's got a little bit of it does not burst. It says, oh, candy filled with ooze. It oozes. It doesn't burst. Let's see. It doesn't really ooze either. It doesn't ooze. Maybe it depends how you bite it. Nah. I mean, it tastes okay. You know, that artificial flavor taste. But it definitely, there's no special oozing effect. You could put a little bit of baking soda and lemon juice on it, and then it'll bubble and fizz in your mouth. And put in your mouth well. Actually, let's see. Ingredients: sugar, corn syrup, wheat, flour. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's already got acid. If you sprinkle a teeny bit of baking soda, which is a base, and when it gets wet in your mouth, let's see if I have baking soda. I'm going to try that. Sweetie trick. Don't attack Mama. All right. She's being better. She's behaving a little bit. All right. I got powder and baking soda. So you know the difference. Baking powder, there is a difference. Let me tell you what it is in a second. Baking powder. Directions. Active ingredient. Yeah. So baking powder is just sodium bicarbonate. That's all it is. Sodium bicarbonate. It's one ingredient. Okay. Multi-purpose for so many things. Okay. Baking soda. No, I'm sorry. Baking powder. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. Carbonate. Sodium bicarbonate. A lot of salt. Because sodium is salts. Carbon. I don't know what the bi is about. Bicarbonate. It's an antacid. It's Alka-Seltzer, basically. So even just this alone, it doesn't fizz very much, but let's try it first by itself. Oops, a little too much there. It doesn't, salty. It does not fizz by itself very much. But anyway, secondly, so that's one ingredient. Baking powder is cornstarch is mixed in. This is for cooking more so than baking soda. You can cook with both of them for baking, but baking powder helps your cake rise. In bread, they use yeast. In cakes, to make it rise and get foamy, they the holes. They use baking powder. So it's made with cornstarch, sodium bicarbonate. It's baking powder. It's cornstarch, sodium aluminum sulfate, and monocalcium phosphate. So it's got a few more things in it. So it's sodium bicarbonate as well as a few other things. So but what's pure is the sodium bicarbonate. But let's try with both. Okay, so I should get a cup of water and rinse out my mouth, but I won't. Where's my candy? Oh, here it is. All right, so this has acid. This candy has acid. Oh, hello, Owen. You may need to do flea foggers. Yeah, you're talking faster now. I am? Oh, God, I really shouldn't have drunk that. I tell myself, I love energy drinks because they taste so good. I actually am not crazy about this coffee one, though, but the Monster energy drinks, sometimes I'll see them on sale. I'll get two for X number. And I'll buy them and I'll drink them both one after the other because they're so delicious. Yet I feel myself more hyper. I really didn't need that. Look at me, like I'm crazed. My eyes are. Um, Am I back? You guys see me? I don't know what happened. I think my internet kicked out for a little bit. My internet cut off. Technical difficulties. Okay. Let me know if you're there. It says there's 2 people, but you guys might have left. Oh, you're there. Okay, good. Oops, I was about to refresh the screen. I better not. All right. Meanwhile, I got myself water. I drank some water. I didn't bring it with me. Okay. So I was getting ready to try the baking soda on a piece of candy because the candy has not malic acid. It often does have malic acid. This has citric acid. That's about it. So I don't know how the citric acid is just like acid from a lemon or an orange. And if I put the baking soda on it, I'm sorry, it's a little gross. I'm going to lick it so it sticks to the baking soda. There's some in this one. So I'm going to coat it with baking soda. There. All right. And now in theory, because there's the acid in the candy and the baking soda is a base, in theory, it's going to fizzle in my mouth. But let's see. I might have a little too much baking soda in comparison to the citric. Let's try it. It tastes yucky. Yeah, it's fizzing a little. A little bit, but I think it would need more no, it's fizzing pretty well though. Oh, it is. Well, it's a mess. Anyway, I'm gonna come back on when the trial starts again. They broke for lunch. It's 1:20. They broke it about 1:20, so I'm gonna guess they're gonna take an hour. So 2:20. Let me refresh the screen. I also have the bad camera on today. I have a better camera. I want to get an even better. Oh, I saw such a cheap camera. Oh, me talking too much. Reload this. Here I am again. Am I in sync or not in sync? I'm sorry, darling. Oh, I scared her. I think what I'm going to do anyway is I'm going to hang up. I don't even know if you guys are there. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to get this dog a bath. And I don't have any flea killer except for the powder. But, well, I put this stuff on her yesterday. It says to wait 24 hours. But I still saw the fleas this morning. I feel like they should be dead already. So maybe I'll wait until tomorrow and see if that medicine takes effect. But I'm just, they're gross. Luckily, I mean, they're not on me, as far as I know, because fleas like to stay on the dogs. Oh, hello there. I guess I have 5 people. For those newcomers, we were watching the trial, but they broke for lunch. So now we're going to hang up. I'm going to hang up, unless anybody wants to chit-chat. Is this even working? Test. Okay, mine's working. I don't know if you guys are working. It shows 2 people. It was up to 5 people. But anyway, I think I'm going to hang up then and come back in about an hour, when the thing is back on. Okay? So bye, everyone. Bye. Come back in about an hour to watch the rest of the trial. Bye.